This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. We're back after a Thursday off. Whitlock is out today filling in Doug Gottlieb of Fox Sports Radio. All right, off the top, Cowherd explains why all the pressure is on the Warriors and calls out the Cavs to steal Game 1 Thursday in Golden State. Fox Sports Radio host Doug Gottlieb tells you the thing that separates LeBron from every other superstar is his emotional intelligence. Co-hosts of the new FS1 morning show, First Things First, Chris Carter and Nick Wright join the show to talk about LeBron. And Hall of Famer Chris Carter weighs in on his buddy Odell Beckham Jr., who he went to see this week. Beckham, of course, skipped OTAs in New York and has taken a lot of heat from the media. Former NBA champ Steven Jackson weighs in on the most impressive thing about LeBron. Plus, we discuss the Richard Sherman situation in Seattle. Is this a reflection of Pete Carroll? Ready for Speak For Yourself? Take it away, Cowherd!
Oh, welcome to the show. I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you how LeBron just did something even MJ can't match.
And I'm Doug Gottlieb, filling in for Jason Whitlock. I'll tell you how Odell Beckham Jr. is living down to his reputation. Speak For Yourself starts now.
All right, here we go. It's a Friday. Big fella's out. It's too busy on Fox News. What's happened to Whitlock? Hi and welcome. Joining us today, Chris Carter, Nick Wright, my buddies. Their new show, First Thing First, debuts September 5th right here on FS1. Catch them every weekday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Let's talk NBA Finals. Why not? Best one in a long time. LeBron and the Cavs eliminate Boston. Boy, what a pathetic effort last night. 33-point beatdown of the Celtics. Cleveland dropped a franchise postseason record, 43 points in the first quarter. Really cruised to an NBA first third straight finals appearance against the Warriors. In addition to playing in his 7th straight finals, LeBron also passed Michael Jordan on the all-time postseason scoring list. Jordan reached his point total in 33 fewer games than LeBron, but LeBron set the record with 118 fewer shots than MJ. Here's LeBron on passing the GOAT.
Well, first of all, I wear the number because of Mike. I think I fell in love with the game because of Mike, just seeing what he was able to accomplish. When you're growing up and you're seeing Michael Jordan, it's almost like a god. For my name to come up in a discussion with the greatest basketball player of all time, it's like wow. Like I said, I did pretty much everything that MJ did when I was a kid. I shot fadeaways before I should have. I wore a leg sleeve on my leg and folded it down so you saw the red part.
For no reason.
I wore black and red shoes with white socks. I wore short shorts so you could see my undershorts underneath. I didn't go bald like Mike, but I'm getting there. But I'm getting there. But it'd be post-career, though.
All right, Doug, is LeBron making his 7th straight finals more impressive than anything MJ accomplished?
No, not anything. They can both be impressive, right? I mean, It's impressive to make 7 straight finals. It's impressive to lead the league in scoring 7 straight times. It's impressive for LeBron James to remake teams in Miami, take that to 4 straight finals, and then go to Cleveland where they hadn't won a championship in over half a century and win a finals in his 2nd year. All of these things are impressive, but it doesn't have to be more so. I think maybe the most telling part of it was Tristan Thompson's reaction talking about being bald. And then, is that a Rhythm Nation hat? What was with, he was the only one with the all-black cap.
The one thing I'll say about LeBron, and we're an aggressive nation. I mean, we elected Trump. We like insults. We're okay with it. We've always been that way. News channels that are aggressive. MJ was aggressive, relentless, punched a teammate. It sits well here. One of the things that LeBron has done really remarkably, to do 7 straight finals, forget the physical fatigue. There's a reason bands don't tour for 7 straight years, because they want to strangle each other. U2 tours, takes a year off. Tours, takes a year off. That's not because they can't do it. It's because they won't get along, and the Edge and Bono will be throwing stuff at each other. I think the daunting emotional task of 7 straight years of just living with the same sort of guys, I think that's part of the DNA of LeBron that Michael didn't have, and I think it's something.
Well, for one, if you're going to look at the accomplishment as far as 7 straight, what Michael did in winning 6 championships, but not in 6 years. There's a reason for that, because he took a break. So we have to look at LeBron in the area that it's in. Like right now, let's look at it in real time. Man, it's freaking impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 straight finals after the worst thing he could have ever done, the decision, because that's where he got the criticism. So you have to look at the 7 straight after when people vilified him. So he went to Miami, took them to finals 4 straight years. He's been back in Cleveland. They have no success in Cleveland history. And he's back in the finals again and with the championship. It's very, very impressive. But 6-0 will always be the benchmark for a lot of things. But we put LeBron in unfair comparisons, and I believe this one is unfair.
I don't think it's unfair. I think it's the most impressive single accomplishment by any one player in NBA history. Because take anything Jordan did, other guys did it. Three-peat. I'm going to list a lot of guys that three-peated. Other guys that won more MVPs than Jordan. I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the line if you guys want to talk to him. No one has ever done anything close to this aside from Russell Celtics in an 8-team league in a different era when the sport was totally, it's almost a different sport. And it's not just the 7 straight. It's the 6 straight since the moment of professional darkness he suffered in Dallas. Now, that was of his own doing. But to recover from that and the way he recovered, to be the best player in the finals for 6 straight years, to take 2 teams to at least 3 consecutive finals, since he went to Cleveland, I know people say the East is weak, the East is weak. They are 36-5 against playoff teams. In the playoffs, 36-5 in the East. That is 36-5. That's 41, so just times 2. Oh, that's a 72-10 win pace in the playoffs in the East.
All right, 2 things here. First of all, can I give credit to Chris Carter? 2 weeks before he left for Miami, Chris Carter grabbed me and Scott Van Pelt and said he's going to Miami. I just want to make sure that's on the record.
Oh, LeBron?
He had the story before anybody else had the story. I remember. I will never forget that moment. Second thing is, you're right, he's been incredibly dominant. Can you please tell me the team that he beat in the Eastern Conference Finals that would have even had a chance to win a championship?
Boston Celtics, they had won a championship. The
Right.
Chicago Bulls, they had the MVP.
Wait. The Derrick Rose-led Chicago Bulls had
Looked
no
bad
chance
when they
in the
played
NBA.
LeBron, I agree.
They had no chance. And that Boston Celtics team was a shell of themselves. And let's also be honest, he's played on 2 super teams. Okay? I think LeBron is great. He's the 2nd best player I've seen in my lifetime. But remember, it's not just that he's played against inferior competition in the East. It's that the 2 teams he's done it on, with the exception, obviously, of early on with that Cavs team. He's 22 years old. That's his, like when Allen Iverson took the Sixers to the finals, that's like a Hall of Fame-worthy loss in the finals. With that as the exception, they had 3 superstars on the team in a conference that didn't have 2 superstars on any other team.
You mean Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? Because
Yeah.
I can give you some numbers that would tell you they weren't superstars when LeBron was with them.
At least at the end.
Yes.
I'm always going to back NBA guys. Tom Brady's the biggest football player. Disappears in the offseason. I don't know where he goes. Baseball players disappear during the season. Hockey players can be invisible during the Stanley Cup final. The best basketball player in the world in my lifetime can never hide. He's 7 feet tall, 6'8". He can't hide physically. And then he plays in the Olympics. And then he has shoe deals. One of the reasons I always back NBA guys, they get no break. They don't get a break going to the grocery store. Tom Brady could go to LA, hat on, I wouldn't recognize him. NBA players, the emotional endurance to go 7 straight years as the world's icon, to me is remarkable.
The Warriors, meanwhile, are heavy favorites to beat the Cavs in the finals. Golden State is the first team to open the postseason with a 12-0 record, men. The addition of Kevin Durant to this incarnation of the Warriors has LeBron feeling a certain kind of way.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really, and I'm not in the right mind to even talk about Golden State. It's too stressful, and I'm not stressed right now. I'm very happy about our accomplishment. I have no discussion. Golden State they've been the best team in our league for the last 3 years, and then they added an MVP. That's all I can give you right now because I'm happy, and I don't want to be stressed. They cause a lot of stress, and I'll get to that point when we start to prepare for them.
So, Colin, do you believe LeBron is stressed to face the Warriors in a third straight NBA final?
No, I think this is rare territory. I think the pressure's on somebody else. Vegas likes him. The media likes him. It's all on KD because that's the guy that has been Mr. Unreliable, whether the OKC newspaper wants to retract it or not. I also think this is very rare. I think the series is going to turn in Game 1. Cleveland's going to win this game. The well-rested team of the last 20 finals is 9-11. Young, hot teams don't want time off. They're going to get 9 days off. Old veteran teams do. Cleveland gets 6 days off. Golden State's been weakest in Game 1. This is way too much time off. The refs will allow physical play. You cannot replicate LeBron and physicality in practice. You can shoot all you want. I think Cleveland goes there and wins Game 1. Then the pressure's clearly, the urgency's on Golden State. And never forget this. Even if Golden State leads 3-1, oh, they blew a 3-1 lead last year.
Still in the back of your mind, yeah.
Yeah, so if Cleveland win Games 1, LeBron doesn't have an urgent game until Game 4. I think if they capture Game 1, it is emotionally the easiest finals of LeBron's life.
It's interesting you point that out. See, I think what LeBron is letting us in on was part of what we just talked about, his unbelievable endurance, right? He never gets hurt. He never gets tired. 7 consecutive years playing in not just the finals, but also playing in the Olympics sporadically as well. His ability to kind of maintain this level. But it's also he lets us understand his level of intelligence. And I think that's his greatest strength. I also think that's his greatest weakness, that he kind of sometimes overthinks things.
Yeah.
Like the reason that he struggles with his shooting is he overthinks it. He misses a couple early and he thinks I don't have it, so he shuts down in terms of shooting jump shots.
Totally fair.
And so he's kind of processing this, hold on, I need to compartmentalize, celebrate today, and then start to think about Golden State tomorrow. He thinks his way through everything, and I think that's what makes him different as a superstar. Like Kobe Bryant's a bright human being, but he didn't necessarily play smart. Like he'd give me the ball, I score.
He didn't have a ton of empathy for teammates.
No,
right?
Same thing with Michael Jordan. Like it's not that they're not dumb, but this guy is exceptionally bright. But I also think sometimes that holds him back, and the idea that he verbalizes, hey, that stresses me out. I know that pressure's in front of me, but I want to worry about celebrating what we just accomplished now, tells you about his emotional intelligence and how he kind of separates different times in his week.
All right, so Colin's point on the pressure not being on him is a great one. This is, there's always pressure on LeBron, but this is the least amount of pressure he's had on him in any series of his career. This is the least. He is a made
More
man.
so than the last one with the Spurs, because they had won back-to-back and then faced the Spurs the third time.
In that one, there was still enormous pressure because they had said not 3, not 4, not 5, and because he was going for a three-peat, and because people were always going to asterisk him until he won one for Cleveland, and we didn't know if he was going to go back. Right. I think for all those reasons. I think last year, and it's not just because he won last year, but because the Warriors added Kevin Durant, because the Warriors are 12-0. For all those reasons, I agree. But I also think this is more indicative of why he's able to not burn out, because he does savor the moment. I remember this time last year, he was criticized because when they swept when they beat the Raptors in 6 to make the NBA Finals, they had a big celebration. I think there was even a little champagne involved. And people were like, are they over-celebrating? They haven't even accomplished their goal yet. LeBron knows how rare it is. And if you watched the postgame, he said Kyle Korver, 13 years, first NBA Finals. He's calling out guys who this is their first moment.
Right.
He knows how hard the next 2 weeks are going to be. He wants to have 36 hours to savor what they've accomplished right now.
And this is one thing that I do know. I'm miserable to be around when I'm getting ready to play. And the higher the stakes, the more miserable or uncomfortable the people around me will be. LeBron goes 0 dark 30 in the playoffs. Now, I remember Dennis Green. Dennis Green taught us this as a team. He said, there's certain games where I need you guys as football players to go to a dark place. Tell your mom, tell your wife not to come to the game, because what I need you to do is not going to be pretty. Now, LeBron just gave us as fans a little insight. You can call it stress, you can call it pressure, but it's real. And what he's got to do over the next 2.5 weeks that would put him in the same conversation as Michael Jordan, it's gonna be stressful. It's gonna hurt. And he just gave us a little glimpse and said, I'm gonna go there because I know this is what is required to be one of the greats of the greats. And I just thought it was just so refreshing and so authentic that he said it.
See, I think, though, what you said, Chris, is exactly right, and why there will always be pressure on LeBron, and maybe even more so ramped up this year. One, it's a rubber match. They got a little bump last year by Draymond getting suspended and Bogut getting hurt. But more than anything, we're starting to use that word, use the name Michael Jordan, compare him statistically. You're saying he's better than Michael Jordan. What hasn't he accomplished? I've been watching. Other people are starting that same narrative. And now, when he failed in Dallas, it's because he started to realize one of his first goals to be an NBA champion. And the question becomes, can he overcome that stress, that pressure, overcoming now the legacy of Michael Jordan?
But we can't deny LeBron's an all-time great. He's 18-5 against KD. KD loses? Where are we going with KD? You can say the pressure's on MJ. I'm going to button this up. LeBron's 18-5 against KD. LeBron's proven. We've already elevated him to the class. KD has to win this series. There's no excuses. Welcome back, joined by, again, Hall of Famer Chris Carter, Nick Wright. They've got a new show. It's called First Things First, and they like each other. Let's go to the NFL, where Odell Beckham Jr. missed OTAs all week for the Giants, but says he'll for sure be at minicamp in June. Giants coach Ben McAdoo was asked about Odell's absence, and he said he wants, quote, all our players here. McAdoo should have called our Chris Carter, who actually had an impromptu workout session with OBJ yesterday.
My way is this way, on the shoulder. Okay? Let's go 1. Let's go 2. Let's go 3. Let's go 4. I didn't hang a half a step. And I'm flat. So for me, now we're fighting for inches. So step on the shoulder, heel open, and hip open inside.
All right. Odell was working out with you instead of the Giants yesterday. Is it a bad look that he's skipping OTAs?
It's not a bad look for me. I mean, shoot, if there's any team want to give me a little tryout, if they can get me to the spot, to the top of the route, I think I could separate and catch. For the last 30 years, we've had guys miss OTAs and mini camps. Like, this is not anything new. If you look at some of the great footage of a lot of the football players that I looked up to when I was really young, Walter Payton, they were doing unconventional stuff just like this, not with the team. Jerry Rice, who I consider the best conditioned athlete outside of medication, Lance Armstrong, the best conditioned athlete, he did a bunch of stuff like this. This is where I learned it. And then when I opened up my own gym, had my own business, it was just like this. There are trainers that are available that are better than the ones that the Giants have because they can be more sports specific. He's got problems with his hamstring. He's got a problem maintaining his weight during the season. He's got a problem retaining water. So he's got to do specific things, a lot like Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson. A lot of these guys are making enough money, they can hire someone. And you know something, after that workout, he doesn't have to answer questions at interviews, all right? It's not my fault. The general manager is the one, the coach is the one who said that he should be there. I make myself available to train these guys, and no, it's not going to make a difference in the season. He is in the best shape mentally and physically for him to go into season 4. He realizes everything that's at stake. He realizes the optics that are going on in New York. But he shouldn't be there if he don't want to be there. And if he gets hurt, none of his money's guaranteed. So why should he take that chance?
Listen, you're an invaluable resource to a guy. I mean, you've forgotten more about the position than most people will ever know. That said, it's different because of last year with OBJ. It just is.
It's just different for you.
No. It's different because, look, you guys are moving to New York to do your show. I lived in New York, and it was a disaster in terms of the PR because of the actions of Odell Beckham Jr. and not the play. He was wildly immature.
So tell me why they played Dallas in 108 days. Him not being to OTAs, tell me how it affects that.
It doesn't. We all know it doesn't. On the other hand, it's the optics of showing the franchise that's going to give you whatever you want, or you're going to ask for whatever you want money-wise when your contract comes up.
$100 million.
Then I'm all in. He didn't go with Eli Manning to Duke, where his quarterback could throw with him. Okay, he missed some flights to go back east for a big sponsorship deal for Dunkin' Donuts. Like, this is par for the course that that I'm not saying that you can't have your own individual trainer, you can't spend time with you, but you also know that with the new collective bargaining agreement, you don't get a ton of time around your teammates anymore. And considering the fact that his quarterback called him out, his coach called him out, and the league felt like he was immature, this is just something you need to do.
He's 41 yards behind Randy Moss as far as the most yards in his first 3 years. So who needs to sync up with who? He's got the passing part down. Well, so the OTAs aren't going to do him any good.
Hold on a second. You mentioned the CBA, and this is a flashpoint for me. Now, full disclosure, I'm a family of a union president. Every single person at this desk is on the employee side rather than the employer side. And it is maddening to me how fans and media who are not management buy in to this nonsense. During the negotiations, when the league locked the players out, one of the things they gave the players instead of precious money was fewer mandatory workouts.
That's true.
If we are now then buying in to the team nonsense that even the voluntary workouts are mandatory, we're being totally unfair. There was a negotiation. One of the things the players wanted was money. The league said, nope, we are drawing a line at this amount of dollars. What else do you want? Okay, fewer days that we have to work out with the team. Deal, we'll give it to you. It is so wildly unfair and manipulative of the coach and the GMs to then, when a guy is not there, act like he's not holding up his end.
It's an interesting story because I've gone back and I've really waffled on this story, and I'm not supposed to waffle, right? I'm a yes, no, right,
wrong.
No,
but you don't have to waffle, but when you get new information, you're educated enough to change your opinion.
Well, I remember when the NBA stars were missing games this year, and LeBron, there was a really funny moment where he's like, we've been missing games forever. He goes, I missed a game. And then and I was like, I remember driving home that day thinking, I think he's got a really good point on that. OBJ is the only captivating athlete in New York. The teams are awful. The management's awful. The Mets are underachieving. The Yankees are now doing goofy things in the stands to get millennials. He is the only superstar in New York sports. And my question is, what if Eric Decker missed OTA? He may be.
There's a bunch of guys missing OTAs, but we're not talking about
that. My takeaway is,
again, we're not taking into context the thought that Odell Beckham Jr. had a bunch of missteps and showed a ton of immaturity the past year or so on the football field. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I don't care if he's at OTAs.
No, but you clearly do, Doug. Hold on, stop. This is you do clearly care, and the idea that was it immature? What you saw in that video. Was he being immature?
No.
Or was he, no. So this is not showing immaturity. This is simply not following
and I don't think you know all the information from the Josh Norman, what made the Josh Norman incident. I think there are some things behind the scene that people don't know which caused him to act that way. I don't justify the behavior.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. His coach seemed bothered. Like when McAdoo says, I'd like him to be here. No, how do we reconcile that?
His coach was also upset with him in mid-season last year. You had the kicking net incident. You had some, other incidents.
Okay, and so what? Okay.
They weren't a great football team, and he's a great football player.
And football is the ultimate team sport. Right. It's amazing how...
So when everybody else is there, why can't you be there?
I'm just going to tell you, man, we've been missing mini camps, wide receivers for years. Okay, so wake up. There's nothing, and every time I go out there and run a route, Doug, I jeopardize my money. You sit here and talk on that TV and make it seem like it's simple. But when we get tangled up and I tear my knee up, the only money I got guaranteed is the Nike money. So if the Giants were smart, they would give him a long-term contract. I wouldn't be concerned about him being there in OTAs. We've been missing OTAs for a long, long time.
It hurt your knee jumping on boxes, too. I want to point that out.
All right, welcome back alongside my friend Doug Gottlieb, now joined by former NBA champ Steven Jackson, great in my radio show today as well, the founder of thebiglead.com, Jason McIntyre. Let's go back to Boston, where LeBron took command against the Celtics early, closing out the series and making his 7th consecutive NBA Finals. King James scored 35 points, surpassing his heiress, Michael Jordan, as the all-time postseason scoring leader. After the game, LeBron's teammate Richard Jefferson chimed in on LeBron's historic night.
His record, when he's done, will be unbreakable. And I want to put this out there. Like, the Joe DiMaggio hit streak, and you look at just some of these records. Will Chamberlain scoring 100. There are certain records that will be unbreakable. Whoever tries to get to that is going to have to play in 10 NBA finals and average 30 points a game to get there. Like, let's put that in perspective. That's impossible.
I want to put this out there. I want to put this in perspective.
All right, Doug, more impressive feat for LeBron.
Shots fired.
7 straight finals are becoming the all-time playoff leading scorer.
I think Steven Jackson's Richard Jefferson voice is actually the most impressive thing on this set so far today. What was the question?
The 7 straight finals or surpassing MJ scoring, what blows you away?
Probably the 7 straight finals. Like, I'm not terribly impressed by the teams in which he's beaten, but the consistency by which he's dominated the East, to which no one's been able to go through LeBron. The all-time scoring is, here's where I would contextualize and say it might be more impressive than I'm giving it credit. He has a great scorer who's not really a scorer. Like, that's not even what he does best.
Right. Like,
he does it because you make him score. If it was up to him, he'd dime people up all day, rebound, just play, score when he has to. So he's the all-time leading scorer in playoff history, and it's not even what he does best, Jax. I mean, it's just, that's crazy.
The best all-around player ever seen in the NBA, LeBron James, by far. He does everything, and I can see him saying, that he wasn't set out to pass this record, but in the back of his mind, he would say, I'm trying to be Michael Jordan. Sure. Everybody knows that. A player of his caliber, that's the right thing to say, but sometimes be honest, LeBron. We all know you're trying to be Michael Jordan. You're trying to finish your career the best player ever. We all know that, and you should, because you are the closest thing to it in my mind. The best all-around player, hey, he's breaking records for a reason. He's dominant. He's trying to be MJ. He won't say it, but he's trying to be MJ.
It's interesting. I'm on Doug's side on this in terms of, like I said before, like, we know Starbucks has better coffee than McDonald's. If they came out and had better fries, you'd be like, oh, my God. But I go back to LeBron's high school year, and it's really a remarkable thing. Mm-hmm. And we always have to remember this. He averaged 29 points a game as a junior. The following year, he only averaged a bucket more. Now, he improved junior to senior year by more than a basket in high school. But that's who he is. To Doug's point, he could have scored that senior year in high school 48 a game.
No question.
It's just not, and this is where the Michael fans have to understand it. He's more Magic
than Michael.
And he always has been.
But he also did something that Magic and Michael could not do, 7 straight finals. And I firmly believe, guys, I know, Steven, we were talking about this before. This era right now, for LeBron to do it right now, 7 straight finals, is more impressive than anything Jordan did in the 90s. He couldn't get there 7 straight. Doug, let me add this. This whole Indiana Pacers were dominant, and the Knicks, how many times did the Pacers win 60 games? In Jordan's era, never.
Because
the Atlanta LeBron got by the Super Celtics.
Yes.
Okay, he got by the 60-win Hawks. Derrick Rose's Bulls won 60 games.
Think about this.
This is a great
Shaq
era.
and Kobe literally wore each other out. Michael said, I need a break. Yep. These are both impressive. But I think I'll say this. Those guys didn't deal with the vile anger and vitriol of social media. It's hard to be LeBron
and
today.
the super teams.
Let's also point out, though, that LeBron did get a break. Okay, he was with Wade, he was with Bosh, and then he pressed refresh, restart, and now he had a younger, better version with Love and with Kyrie Irving. So he actually did get a break, did get a change. Here's the thing, though, okay? Michael Jordan ended the run of the Celtics. He ended the run of the Pistons.
Yep.
He never the Knicks were never allowed to make a run with Patrick Ewing. And though we can all dismiss the Atlanta Hawks, like they had Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight machine, he was never able to do anything. I didn't mention Cleveland. Like all of these teams had Hall of Fame players that were never allowed to get to the finals because they had to go. They were far more impressive than the Toronto Raptors of last year, the Boston Celtics of this year, the Chicago Bulls of his first year, of the Indiana Pacers. Even those weren't great teams that he went through.
And to correct you, Shaq and Kobe didn't drive each other crazy. We knocked them out in 03. we stopped the dynasty. We stopped the dynasty.
All right. To Richard Sherman, who says reports of friction in the Seahawks locker room are, quote, nonsense. This is a response to an ESPN feature that insinuates Sherman has contributed to a tension-filled locker room, specifically between the Seahawks defense and quarterback Russell Wilson. According to the piece, quote, Sherman has told teammates and friends that he believes the Seahawks should have won multiple Super Bowls by now. Sherman thinks that Pete Carroll hasn't held Wilson or many other young Seahawks to the defense's championship standard. he has been disillusioned not only by that single play more than 2 years earlier, but also by his coaches and quarterback's response to it. So, Colin, do the Seahawks need to get rid of their seemingly disgruntled superstar cornerback, Richard Sherman?
Well, I usually look toward Belichick when it comes to this. He got rid of Revis. People went, you're crazy. Cornerback's one of those positions, wide receiver. It's so athletic. Sometimes the decline is fast. Triple threat's a great term we use in sports, and it almost always means great. But triple threat can also be negative when it's increasingly expensive, slightly declining, and I would say, I don't want to use outspoken.
Volatile?
Increasingly volatile. And Richards had 4 interceptions, 2-4, so he's not quite what he was. He's darn expensive, and is sort of a leader. I got to tell you, it's a quarterback league. I'm going to side with the quarterback for no other reason than he's worth 6 points a game. So I think there's a couple of things converging here that aren't great for Richard Sherman.
I don't like the fact, because quarterbacks like point guards, Doug. You can't, they're not that tough. You got to be careful how you talk to them. So you got to watch. The same thing that I say to Nick Wright is cool, but if I say it to the wrong person, it can be taken the wrong way.
Right.
You have to watch what you say to the quarterback, because their psyche, it's important.
You told me this years ago.
Yeah, it's very important to the team. We need that guy to feel like he's empowered, and not you're taking power away from him. It's not Russell's fault they called the play. Now, the accountability, I realize what Pete's saying, but I've been listening to you for a long time. This is the same way it went down for Pete at USC, man.
It got loose.
Your system, you need lieutenants like Richard Sherman. But now when it's time for Richard to say, I'm a general, Pete don't want to give him the stars. But I've been doing all this other work, and I don't think you're creating the soldiers you used to create, Pete. That's what creates the tension, because there's a double standard in how he treats the players, and I think that will be played out. Richard's better off served now being a great defender, because they already talked about trading you.
What saves you as a kid will kill you as an adult. It really will, okay? And what saved Richard Sherman, what got him out of Compton, California, sent him to Stanford, and then sent him on a path in the NFL where he was probably underdrafted and he overperformed, is killing him right now. Because he would bottle up all this anger, all this jealousy, all this rage, and would come out as a football player.
The underdog.
Okay, and he used it to get a great education as well. But now all of a sudden he's made it, and he still has that same amount of rage and jealousy, only he focuses it on his own teammate. And just like Colin said, hey man, there's like 15 guys in the world that can play quarterback. And Russell Wilson, I don't think he's one of the top 5, but I know he's one of those top 15. Yeah. And so trying to go head up and call Russell Wilson a phony, which he very well may be, is like trying to call out the owner's son in any business. You're not going to win that war. Eventually, you're going to lose, and Richard Sherman is going to lose this war.
Sometimes the truth don't make you right.
Yeah.
Well, right. Sometimes it's more important to be nice than correct. Right. Something I've never learned in my marriage or in life, but I've heard that.
Down and send that to a text.
All right. What is most interesting to me about this is there is an alternate version of contemporary NFL history where they run the ball in that play and the Seahawks have 3 Super Bowls. There's an alternate version where they make one different choice and they win that game. Or Butler same play call and he just drops it and they run it on the next play. Right. And the next year, if you remember, they don't give Cam Chancellor his money. And he holds out. And they lose their first couple games. And now they don't have a bye. And now they're on the road against Carolina in the second round. Yeah. There's an and Marshawn Lynch is disgruntled and ends up not really giving it his all and then walking away. There is that one single decision had such a butterfly effect on everything. Because the most interesting part of this clip is not the interception. It's the look on Sherman's face right after.
In real time.
Because it is in real time oh no! Right. Everything we've worked for is gone. And it's so much hard work, and as Chris can say, it hurts so much physically. To lose it like that, I don't know that you can recover from it.
Wasn't that the year they beat the Packers, and they shouldn't have beaten the Packers, though? If you want to go butterfly effect, right? If the Packers simply know how to field an onside kick, then we don't have that to begin with.
In that game, the Packers still have to make a lot of plays. Very few players will be in that position.
Where it's one play.
Let me defend Russell Wilson. We got to go to break here. One thing. What you really want from a quarterback, and it's been my knock on Cam, a lot of roller coaster emotional. What you want from your quarterback is a little bit of the opposite. Like Eli's face doesn't change from David Tyree to losing. Russell Wilson is really the perfect personality. That's what you draft as a quarterback. Like, he throws the interception, post-game, he's like, that was awful, but camp's in 4 weeks. Richard Sherman's asking Russell to be a cornerback. Russell's greatness starts with his emotional bandwidth. That's why he's a great leader.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. So excited for the games next week, but what is everybody going to do all weekend? Listen to old episodes of this podcast? I mean, really, are you going to watch baseball games? I think the Stanley Cup is happening. I'm not sure. Maybe someone could confirm that for me. But I guess we'll just spend the next, 5 days talking about LeBron versus Jordan and Steph Curry versus LeBron and Kevin Durant versus... Oh, so we're going to just talk about LeBron for 6 days. That's cool. Anyways, guys, listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, and of course, go find us on social media and yell at us. I'm giving this out early, folks. It's easy. My Instagram has the breakdown. Warriors 4, Cavaliers 0. I'm out.